Hello, my name is David Duffy. I'm a retired physician sharing with you thoughts about healing. This is the 18th presentation. Today we're going to talk about a whole foods plant-based diet. A professor at Cornell University named T. Colin Campbell published a book in 2006 called The China Study. In his research, he found that Chinese people living in rural areas of China and eating food close to nature and mostly plant-based had a very low incidence of both cancer and heart disease. Using that as a basis, he did further research and found that in modern medicine, they like to get the active ingredients of foods. So with research, they learned that oranges and grapefruit have vitamin C, ascorbic acid. Rice and wheat have thiamine, vitamin B1. And so they would say, you know, the food has this, and if you had white bread, they could add thiamine, make up the difference. In 2013, Dr. Campbell published a book called Whole, W-H-O-L-E. And that was designed to help us understand the difference between reductionism, where you kind of reduce things to little pieces, versus having an overview, holistic point of view. In a research project, a scientist took a half of an apple, 100 grams of fresh apple, and measured the antioxidant effect of that apple. Vitamin C is an antioxidant. Vitamin C protects your body from free radicals that cause deterioration and oxidizes, like spoils the enzymes. And in that half of an apple, there was the equivalent of 1,500 milligrams of vitamin C potency. Then he took the half apple and actually measured how much vitamin C was in there. And there was only 5.7 milligrams of vitamin C. So 1,500 milligrams equivalent of vitamin C was only done with less than 6 milligrams of vitamin C. Why? There were many other antioxidant ingredients in the apple that we were not aware of. We knew of vitamin C, but not the whole picture. All right? Now, the basis of the whole food plant-based diet is to have your food as close to nature as possible. Now, we cannot eat raw rice. Really, we don't eat raw potato. We need to cook them, bake them, boil them. And that takes the starch and breaks it up into sugar that is digestible. However, we want to cook it as little as possible to get the nutritional and digestive effects. So if you were to be put on a whole food plant-based diet, the rule would be to eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, have plant-based sources of protein like beans, legumes, nuts, seeds, and don't have added salt, don't have added oil, don't have added sugar. Okay? That's the idea. I do follow that diet. But let's now think about food. What's the difference between corn on the cob and popcorn? Popcorn is cremated corn. Everything is burnt. The protein's destroyed, the vitamins are destroyed, and you're left with a puff of starch that is good to eat with oil and butter and salt watching a movie. You're not having the full nutrition of the corn. What about cooked brown rice versus minute rice? Big difference. The brown rice has vitamins, protein, minerals, starch, but the minute rice has taken the coating of the rice away. It has parboiled it, so it's kind of half cooked, and it makes rice to eat very quickly, but there's a big difference. When we process food to the point that it's similar but not equal to, is it really a food? Is it a valuable food? What about a slice of tomato versus ketchup? Is ketchup really the same thing as eating a tomato? If you ever do the dishes, you find that the tomato sauce after the spaghetti has stuck to the plate and it's hard to get it off. If you take leftover food and don't put it in the refrigerator, leave it out for a day or so, ooh, it smells, it's rotting. Is that what our body is processing when we eat overcooked food? How does the body handle that? If you take a meal and you bring all the usable food out and digest it, there will be a lot of food that stays in the intestines that may not be absorbed, and it rots. It can give you smelly bowel movements. If your body absorbs this unusable food, where does it go? What happens to it? Your body's very well adapted to this, and you seem to be healthy, but you may find you gain weight. You may find that you have a lot more mucus coming out, or you might get colds or bronchitis. The leftover stuff that comes from the food and is not usable has to either be discarded or stored in your body. And the idea is that The more food that you eat that is unusable, the more biological clutter that will be accumulated in your body, and that can contribute to disease and aging. Remember last time we talked about prostate cancer, and in a study, they took 70-year-old men who had died of other causes, and they did autopsies and found that 80% of these dead men had prostate cancer. Well, if they're eating right, why do so many men have prostate cancer? That's the question. Okay. Right now in our society, we have a lot of chronic disease. As a matter of fact, our medical system is equipped to handle that. You can get a knee replacement, you can get heart valve replacement, you can get heart stents, you can have bowels readjusted, you even have liver transplants. We get sick, we receive medicine to help us feel better, but the treatment is not really getting us better. We feel better and stay sick. I'm encouraging people to do their own research. Okay, I started this research on myself in 1968 and the second year of medical school when I was reading Gandhi's autobiography and said, hey, I'm going to stop eating meat. More recently, I have been following the whole foods plant-based diet. So I'm going to tell you a typical day of what I eat. For breakfast, I'll have 2 bananas, a chunk of pineapple, and maybe 2 oranges or a grapefruit, and a cup of nuts, sometimes cashews, sometimes mixed nuts, sometimes peanuts with almonds. And these are roasted nuts because they're more digestible. For lunch, I will have some grapes, a big apple, and 3 ounces of sunflower seeds. Okay. For dinner, I will have a nice big salad with spinach, cabbage, avocado, celery, tomato, and sometimes carrots. I will have cooked rice, cooked lentils with steamed broccoli, Swiss chard, and zucchini. Okay. That's a lot of fruits and vegetables. There's basically 1 starch at night as the rice. There were 3 proteins. It varies. You'll have sometimes corn, sometimes potatoes, sometimes rice, whatever. Okay. I don't add any salt. I don't add any oil. I use freshly squeezed lemon as a salad dressing. People would think it's a boring diet. But nature provides foods, and when you have food that is digestible and delicious, you enjoy it. I don't get thirsty. I do not drink beverages as a rule. Why? Because I have so much liquid in the food that I eat that I don't get thirsty. Okay? I fast between meals. I don't have snacks during the day. I don't drink a lot of water. Okay? Now, I've experimented over the years. Um, when you begin to change your diet, your body makes adjustments. Now, one of the debates I had years ago was, oh, is bread okay or not okay? So I went without bread for a couple months. Then I said, oh, maybe I need some bread. So I used this whole grain health loaf from Costco. Very good, delicious, delicious bread. But when I started eating that on a regular basis, I got mucus clinging to the back of my throat. Whoa. That was my body's reaction. And I realized that eating bread on a regular basis was too concentrated for my metabolism. So yes, I eat bread once in a while, but not on a regular basis at this point. And that's kind of the adjustments that we make as we go along. Now, I'm inviting you to, if you wish, do an experiment with the whole food plant-based diet. I know it's very difficult to just go into it completely, so you have to go in a transition phase. You have to go a little at a time. In the nature of life, meat is a staple food for many people. In Japan, fish provides your protein. In the American West, the Indians had buffalo meat. But they weren't eating huge amounts. They had enough. Killing one buffalo would feed a whole family or a number of families for a while. So they weren't overeating it, but they had that as their protein. Even in the Bible, they would sacrifice their sheep and goats and cows to have meat. Okay, so if you depend on meat and that's important in your metabolism and agrees with you, we keep that the same for a while. We start by increasing the amount of fresh fruits and vegetables. Eat more. It's a big thing to have the discipline to have a salad every day, because you have to buy the vegetables, chop the vegetables, and all that stuff. That is worth the effort. Try to have a good amount of salad every day. I am not telling you what to eat. I am suggesting that you experiment for yourself and see how it affects your body. If you currently eat a lot of junk food and snacks and soda pop and crackers and cookies and cakes and whatever, what happens when you cut back? One thing that you may happen is, yes, you could lose weight, but you might feel a craving. You say, I'm not going to have that ever again. And then you get so hungry, you grab it. That's okay. That's a relapse. We are addicted to those kind of foods. And it's going to take time. If we have a relapse and go back to our quote, quote, bad diet, that's okay. Learn from that. When you clean your body a certain amount and then you go back on the junky food, your body is more sensitive and has a reaction. As you, quote, improve your diet, it may seem that you are getting sick. You're nervous, you're having diarrhea, you're having mucus, you're having aches and pains. That's possible. You are cleansing your body. That's the pain of healing. That is the cleansing process. If we go too extreme and that's too rapid, we will have side effects. If we go slowly and have side effects that we can tolerate, that's better. It's better. We don't want to go on a crash diet and then burn out. We want to go slowly and develop a dietary pattern that we enjoy, that we can live with, and we can maintain for a long time. There are many weight-losing diets. Have more protein, have more fat, have less sugar, have less starch. Well, that's the carbohydrate restricting diet, the diet that burns ketones and makes you lose weight. However, it puts a big strain on the liver and the kidneys, and in my opinion is not so healthy. We have plenty of time to discover what works best for us. What works for me doesn't work for my wife. She doesn't have the intestinal fortitude to have so much roughage that I have. Fine. You have to listen to your body and do what makes sense to you. There's no point doing what I say if it doesn't benefit you and you approve it. And because our bodies are different, then only you can judge what works best for you. Now, why do we want to do this? Maybe you don't. Okay, don't. But if it makes sense and you're trying to have a diet that is more healthy and kind of cleans out junk that you don't want and perhaps could prevent an illness, perhaps can cure something that you have that's bothering you, I encourage you to try it. You're kind of basically making a contract with your body. You're asking your body what it needs, just like a mother kind of senses what the baby needs. You're sensing what your body needs and using your intelligence and in the knowledge of nutrition to kind of estimate what you need. And you're going to observe, and if you're invited out for dinner and go to a restaurant and have huge amounts of food that makes you stomach full and you're thirsty and all this kind of, just say, hey, that didn't make sense. If I were in a situation like this and felt I had to eat it, my body would probably have diarrhea the next morning because my body's not used to that. If I had rich food that was spicy and salty, I would probably gain 5 pounds because I would have a salt load on my body that made me hold water and gain weight. And that would take a week or so to get rid of. This is all voluntary. I'm not saying if you don't do it, you're going to get sick or anything like that. We are talking about something that is worth trying and discovering and making you a medical research associate. I would suggest, if you are interested in doing that, you keep track and if you have good results, that your cholesterol goes down, you lose weight, you have more energy, your sinuses clear up, whatever, make a note of that and let your doctor know. because ultimately the research tool is your medical record with your own doctor. And we want to make him an ally in this process. We want you to be more educated in terms of your health so that you're able to ask questions and be your own advocate. You are going to experience effects of medication, and then you ask, well, what happened and why did that happen? And you will recognize that you're sensitive to that medicine, perhaps different from another person. Okay. Okay, so that concludes our little presentation today. Next time, we're going to talk about viral infections. Okay. Thank you for joining us.